Welcome to episode 9 of the Exceptional Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Hamilton, and I'm delighted to have your company. Let's get started. When Satya Nadella became the CEO of Microsoft in 2014, the company was at a pivotal moment. Nadella was taking over a giant tech company at a time when it needed fresh direction. But rather than trying to prove he had all the answers, Nadella embraced a mindset that has since become a hallmark of his leadership style. He knew that the key to success wasn't about being the smartest person in the room, but about surrounding himself with incredibly talented people. In fact, Nadella has said, and I quote, "I think the most important thing is to hire people who are smarter than you and to empower them. The role of the leader is to be a multiplier, not the smartest person in the room." This approach was part of his broader vision to transform Microsoft into a company that was agile, innovative, and collaborative. Instead of trying to control every decision, Nadella focused on bringing in individuals who could bring specialized expertise and creative problem solving to the table. Whether it was engineers, business leaders, or visionaries in new tech fields such as cloud computing, Nadella believed in trusting his team to excel. Under his leadership, Microsoft culture shifted. Nadella encouraged a more open, growth-oriented environment where the value of diverse perspectives was clear. Rather than trying to be the authority on every topic, he made it clear that his job was to empower his team and give them the freedom to innovate. It was about multiplying their strengths, not being the smartest one in the room. This philosophy worked. Microsoft began its major transformation, focusing on areas like artificial intelligence and cloud services, which were critical to its future. Nadella's strategy of hiring brilliant people who were better than him in their specific areas of expertise helped to drive the company forward. His humility and commitment to learning from those around him were key to fostering a culture of trust and collaboration. Nadella's story isn't just about his leadership, it's a reminder that great leaders aren't the ones who know everything. They're actually the ones who surround themselves with the best and the brightest, creating an environment where everyone can shine. Now, that is, I think, one of the keys to high-level leadership and the building of high-performance teams. There's a leadership theory that I really enjoy. It's called Path Goal Leadership Theory. You can look it up if you want a little bit more detail on exactly what it entails and how it works. But essentially, it is when the leader says to the team, "I will, with your guidance, remove roadblocks, which will then enable you guys to go about your business unencumbered and to work together most effectively as a team, and therefore we achieve our team goals." The removing of roadblocks is what I see as the leader's main job. You have to have a collaborative mindset to identify all of the roadblocks, because obviously there might be roadblocks that you are not aware of. So you have to ask your team what those are, especially when you're talking about working in a massive company like Microsoft, where you've got so many different disciplines that one person cannot possibly be across every single one of them. Perhaps it's a little bit easier in a smaller team, smaller organization. But either way, that path goal leadership style, I believe, is a really good one to take on board, because not only do you ensure that you've been made aware of every single roadblock that exists, so in other words, you know where the goals are, but the team feels respected because you've given them a chance to collaborate and you've really covered all bases by taking that approach. So I view the leader as a coach. You're not there to be, the shining star. You're not in competition with your own team looking for praise and recognition. You are there to build your team up to the greatest heights possible. You are there in a coaching, mentoring role, guiding role, to orient your team in the right direction, remove all of those roadblocks that might prevent your team from reaching success in their respective disciplines, and of course, praise and credit will come when you do that, simply because leaders, whether you like it or not, receive praise and also blame, just by virtue of the fact that you are leading the team. And that is something that we need to remember. There's no need as a leader to go out and seek credit and, puff your chest out and big note yourself, because just by virtue of the fact that you're in a leadership position and you're heading up that team, you're going to get the credit for the outcome no matter which way it goes, because you're heading it up. If things go horribly, you're going to get the blame for that. And if things go well, you're going to get the credit for that. So there's no need to go around beating your chest and really going out of your way to obtain that praise. So as a leader, you are really the conductor. One of the analogies that I particularly enjoy with respect to leadership is you have to be the person up on the balcony overlooking the crowd below, because from there you are sufficiently removed and isolated from all the chaos that you can act like a conductor and coordinate all of the pieces in and amongst the chaos. If you're down there in the crowd, trying to be really hands-on and sort of overly involved, you're going to really struggle to see the bigger picture and understand where all the pieces need to go and all the coordination that needs to be done to achieve the goals. That's one of the things that I think people who haven't had leadership training do struggle with, particularly people who are in technical disciplines and things like that. They're so used to being hands-on, and they're so used to, leading by example by doing, which isn't a bad thing, but it becomes something that isn't sustainable after a certain level. Those people are so used to getting hands-on that they really struggle to delegate sufficiently so that they can pull themselves back into that balcony position and coordinate in a true leadership fashion. Okay, so as a leader, you are the conductor. You're, of course, leading by example still, but in perhaps a more leadership-oriented way. Instead of being super hands-on and doing all the really day-to-day stuff, you've taken that step back. You're still modeling all the behaviors that we want you to model, but instead of doing the nitty-gritty, you're now setting strategies. You are collaborating with your team to identify those higher level problems that your team don't have sufficient influence to impact. And you, in your leadership function at that higher level, are now taking on board that responsibility of removing those roadblocks to success that your team is unable to influence. That's your job as a leader at that higher level. You are guiding the focus, all right? And you are setting the goals in a collaborative fashion with your team. So I don't want any of you to be in this mindset where you think you have to be the best out of everybody in your team as the leader and you can't hire anybody that is better than you. That is definitely the wrong way to think about it. Instead, you should be hiring people who are the very best at what they do. And if that means that they outshine you in some areas, then that is a reality that you need to be comfortable with. In fact, it should be seen as a positive. A sign of a good leader is somebody who builds the very best team that they can possibly build, because they know that that gives the organization the very best chance at being successful. All right, I hope that helps, guys. Thank you for joining me once again. I do want to mention that in the show notes there is a link. It says send us a text. I've put that there because I want to interact with you guys. Please use it to send me any questions that you might be curious about. Perhaps you'd like to suggest some topics that you want talked about on this podcast, whatever that might be. Even just share general leadership challenges that you've found in your personal life, in the organization that you work in. Either way, I'd be really happy to hear from you. As always, subscribe to the show, leave us a nice review, and until next time, I'll see you then.